Hello, everyone. Welcome to this quick stream stroke video all about a couple of questions I'm going to answer on the FME Community Forums. I picked them out as my questions of the week and thought, that'd be interesting ones. One of them was, how do we build building footprints from this Google data set? I'm interested in that because I'd never seen that data set before, and they called it a spatially sharded CSV, which is a term I'd not heard of. I mean, it looks like the user's got an answer there, and I'll use the same technique, I'm sure. But I thought it'd be nice to look at that and then maybe see about turning that into a custom format, because that would make sense to give that a go. Then we could put it onto the FME Hub, and people could use it without actually having to question on the forums. So we'll have a go at that. The other one I wanted to answer was this one about limiting the processing extents, which again is another pretty straightforward one. It's just we want to read a certain amount of data from somewhere according to the extents of a feature, which are stored in a shapefile. And so again, that's a pretty straightforward one, but sometimes it's good to do these easy questions. It's good for me anyway. So we'll have a look at that. So the first part of this was to look at this question about how do you read these building footprints from Google. They're in a format, spatially sharded CSV. There's a latitude, longitude, different parameters, different attributes, I should say. One of which has well-known text format in there, polygon or multi-polygon. And the geometry replacer, as the user said, should be fine to get that out. So I'm just going to download some. I haven't looked at this at all yet, apart from just browsing through this web page. So I'm going to download some of this data, if I can find it. Where is it? Right down here. So let's download some of this and see if we can get it to work. Don't know if there's anything in Null Island, but they don't seem to have anything. Let's pick a file that we can expect buildings, but maybe not too much of them. Maybe Mali. Is that where Timbuktu is? That's got to be around that area. It's a GZ file. Okay, well that's fine. FME should be able to read that data out of there. Let's open the folder. I'm going to just cut that out and put it into, let's see, go on my Google Drive. I've got a community folder here, so I'm just going to put it in there for now, and we'll organize this folder later. Okay, so we should be able to open that up with, oh wow, that's interesting. The .gz seems to match to the FME Data Inspector. I've got 2022 installed, so I'm going to give that a shot just to see how it goes. I just installed it the other day, and you'll get to see it and try it just as I'm trying it out. Okay, latitude, longitude. So that's interesting. So it's got a latitude and longitude, and it's got a geometry. I wonder if that's a center point there. Well, that's fine. Real and varchar. Okay, well that looks good. I mean, it's reading it pretty straightforward by the look of it. And we're going to use the lat long for the coordinates, because I don't think there's a way. I mean, thinking about it, it would be nice if there was a way to say that was a geometry string. I wonder if we could do that. Yeah, I might ask developers if they can do that. If you could pick well-known text and it would pick it up in there. That would be really cool if it would do that. But right now I don't think it does, so we'll just have to make do with this. So we are reading this. Now I've got to remember how you turn this. Well, I'm just reading the data now, I guess. Wow, so there we go, got some buildings. It doesn't look like there's a cluster of buildings in the city or anything, which I'm sort of surprised about, but whatever. Let's see, we even got... Oh, it's just points, isn't it? It's not got the polygons yet. Okay, of course. So these are a bunch of points, which I assume are the center points of the buildings. So let's fire up FME 2022. If you've not looked at this before, you'll see some pretty amazing changes in here, even for now. Like the start screen is completely different. And I can actually see the full path of all of these files, which is fantastic, because never used to be able to see the full path. It would always get cut off. So that is excellent. Okay, let's drag this into the workspace. And we are good with that. We've got to assume really that the data coming in from Google has got the same schema all of the time. Actually, this is going to be easier than I realized, I think. So we've got the geometry extractor. You know what I'm going to do? I just want to see if those codes are unique, the plus code. I mean, I assume it's unique for each building. So if I run that, we should find out, because it should not come up with any duplicates. There we go, no duplicates. So that's telling me it's a unique code. You'll notice, by the way, that the log window is completely new in 2022. Let me just flip over back to there. Full plus code. The full plus code at the building centroid. Okay, so it's basically a unique code. Unique address code, but it still should be unique unless you've got two buildings on top of each other. The reason I wanted to know that was because I was thinking I might extract the geometry from here, and it should be OGC well-known text. I've got no idea what version it is. We'll just go with that. Output attribute. It's not geometry extractor, it's geometry replacer, of course, because we've already got the text in there. Geometry source is geometry. Okay. Remove the attribute after we're done. No, we're going to keep that because we might want it in the output somehow. So we can get rid of the extractor. We don't need that. Okay, let's see what that comes up with. We should have buildings now. Let's just pop that open in the data inspector. And zoom in and see what we've got. And they certainly look like buildings. Fantastic. So we're getting the geometry out of there just fine. That one looks an interesting shape, but whatever. They don't include. I noticed they don't include the imagery that it came from, so we can't really tell whether that's right or not. But that's not really the point. For us anyway, we just want to be able to read this data set. The thing I was thinking of doing was making it into an aggregate, because we could take the center point and aggregate it with that, but we'd have to group it by something, and we could do it grouped by full plus code. That's the one. So assuming that the full plus code is unique, then that's good. Attribute accumulation, no, we want to keep the attributes, and they should be the same. So it shouldn't be a problem there. Do we want to concatenate anything like lat and long? No, I think I just want to keep this as it is. I don't see a need to do anything like that. I'm just going to put an extra point in there in the connection just to make it look a little bit neater. And let's just open that up as well. And we should find that we've got buildings and centroids now. Yeah, and that looks good, and that's an aggregate. a polygon and a point. Well, that's fine. Great. So really, that's all I needed to do with that. So the reason I wanted to show this was converting it into a custom format. And I think we do that. So you want to right click on here. Or let's see, how do we do this? Not a custom transformer, it's a custom format. Now maybe it's because we don't have a writer. So what we need to do is add a writer. And we need to add it of the type, no, is it format? Huh. I could have swore it was to add it as a custom formats, new. No, don't want a wizard. Okay. I was sure I could make this into a custom format. And then we just, by adding a writer. Let's try that again. Okay, maybe I need to save this. So let's save the workspace. And we are going to call this Google Buildings. Actually, what is it called? Open Buildings. Okay, it doesn't matter what we call the file name, I guess. So we'd save that. File, export as custom format. There we go. I don't know why I was having such a problem with that. New custom format name. Let's call it. We just got to give it a short name. The short name there. So we'll go with. What are we going to call it? Like the description's fairly obvious. We'll call it Google Open Buildings. I think you're not allowed spaces in. Oh, maybe you are. Let's. Oops. I didn't think you were allowed spaces in that. Okay, so we export it as a custom format. I thought we added a writer and then. But no, we make it into the FDS file and then we add. Okay, we got the custom format output. Now we add a writer feature type. And we will just call it buildings. Geometry is an FME collection, I think, unless it. It's probably safer just to say FME any. And we'll go with the automatic schema just until we've connected it. And what have we got there? Full plus code, lat long. Okay, so I think we're going to reorganize this a bit. Does it? I just want to go to that page again. Lat long, yeah. I'm just going to reorder these because I don't know that that's particularly useful. So we're going to say full plus code is the top. Confidence can be the next one. Area in meters. Then lat long and geometry. That seems to me to be the most sensible order. Because lat long and geometry we've got already. So there's that. See, I wonder if we can. Actually, yes, we can add user parameters. So I can say source open buildings CSV file. Oops. required default value. Perhaps we'll see what happens with that. Oops. The thing I wanted to do, I guess, was to add a, let's say, a choice box. Create aggregates, published or required. Yes, it's required. No, we don't want to assign attributes. And we're going to go with yes and no. Okay, the default is, yeah. And let's see if it comes out of here, we want to keep it. We're probably going to have to duplicate some bits on here. Like, do we want to create aggregates? Oh, we'll just call it parameter equals yes. If we want to create aggregates and send it to there, if we don't, we can write it to the output, but we still want to stop this coming through. So, yeah, we're going to have to duplicate at least one of these transforms. We're going to duplicate the tester. And if not, it goes to there. Let's just move that down. I should put some labels on here. Aggregate, which I think I spelled wrong. And we'll put the same label on there with a question mark. Okay, so let's just go with that for now, and I'm going to call it Google Open Buildings Create Aggregates. So I'm just going to give it a different name for that. And in fact, the default I'm just not going to set as that, because people don't need to see my thing as a default. Turn that off. I don't want to save it as a default. It's a CS, it's a .gz file, and we are creating aggregates, so that would work fine. Okay, so we've got Google Open Buildings.fds, and yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. So now, if I'm going to shut down the data inspector, fire it up again, just to make sure it knows to look for this format and it gets the latest version of that. So now what we should be able to do is open up Google Open Buildings. It's got the right file already. Any parameters, create aggregates, yes. We don't have any of the CSV parameters because really we shouldn't need that. So, yeah, there we go. And if I do the same thing, I thought I changed the name of it, not the prompt. Well, that was clever, wasn't it? I'll have to go back and change that. There we go. We don't get the point this time. So, that's the wrong way around. There we go. Create aggregate of polygon centroids. Click OK. Save that. Yeah, I don't know that it. Oh, there you go. It worked straight away. So I'm happy with that. Say yes. There we go. Okay, so yeah, all I really need to do now is update a description on that. I can put it on the on the FME Hub, and yeah, people can use it as they like. So that will be pretty good. I should make a description of it as well. I'm sure we can do better than blank. I'll just use the markdown, and I'll do that later. There's no rush to do that. So I will do that. I will put it on the FME Hub. So that's how we create a custom format to read these open buildings, and that will solve that person's issue and hopefully solve any other person's issues, because they can just type in Google Open Buildings in Workbench and it will appear. So yeah, if I put it in 2022, you probably need the 2022 format because version of FME, because we don't have versioning in custom formats the same way that we do in custom transformers. I think, as far as I'm aware, and we've just been talking about that this afternoon for another question. Yeah, we could. Okay, the suggestion is in the future we could wrap it up in a package, and packages are allowed versioning. So if I wanted to in the future, I could make a version out of this by making a package and versioning that. But custom formats don't have a version. So. Okay, so that was that one question done. The other question was this. How do we limit processing using a search envelope? And this is a new user to FME, and if you've used FME for a fair amount of time, you probably know how this is done, but I'm going to cover it anyway because it really is useful for new users. The point really that we want to try and do is we want to read only the data that we need inside that envelope. We don't want to read all of the data and then filter it with a clipper or something like that. So how do we do that? Well, we can do that with a FeatureReader transformer. So again, I'm going to just go into FME Workbench. So what I've got in here in source data, I'm pretty sure I've got a shapefile that has let's see. So I've got an orthophoto catalog that's in Shapefile, which really is just a bunch of tiles. Like if we run this, we'll just see a whole bunch of tiles. So it's not really anything specific to I guess it is specific to the orthophotos, but really it doesn't really matter to us. We just want to know 3 or 4 tiles that we can read and create a boundary from. So let's say we'll go with those 4 there. So what have we got there? Can I copy those? Copy. There we go. Copy and paste it into there. No, it's only a shapefile. Okay, so it's all in the shapefile, so I'm just going to put a tester in here or a test filter or something. Let's see. I bet we could say name is in, open this up and put it in there. I wonder if that will work. I never thought about that before, but there's no reason why it shouldn't. It just saves me typing everything in. Okay, something didn't like there. Invalid range. Okay, so maybe it does need to be a single value. Let me just separate it with not dashes, because we've got those, with pipe symbols. Let's see if that works. At this point, it's almost becoming more work than it's. Interesting. Oh, actually, does in. Maybe I'm using the wrong operator. Contains is probably more what I want. Or maybe I want it to be the other way around, is contained in. No, see, that should be the in. I'm sure the in function. See, if it was in range, see all operators in. Oh, comma separated values. Okay. Okay, well that explains it. That, comma, that, comma, that, comma, that. Yeah, again, like what was meant to be a shortcut's taking twice as long now, as if... Like, I'm sure it says... Like, you've got cat, comma, dog, comma, cats and dogs. Strings can also be specified... Enclosing in quotation marks. Okay. Well, it didn't show that in the previous part, but never mind. Yeah, again, this was meant to be a shortcut and it's taking twice as long, but it's interesting just to try it out and see if it works. We don't need a line break. Less chance. There we go. In fact, I mean, really, that was slow because we now got the cached values, so we should be able to say attribute value equals and then start typing. Or have we got cached values in here? Like I could have swore. There we go, cached values. I could have just picked them out from there like that. Anyway, it works, so it doesn't really matter. Okay. This all goes a long way just to pick myself some data. So bounding box accumulator. We're just going to say that it's one big hunk of data, or one big area that we want, and we are going to read some data from a geodatabase, and we'll go with the address database, and I know I've got in here addresses.gdb. Oh, okay. I don't need that because we're using the FeatureReader. Sorry, it's a Friday afternoon. And in fact, it's more than that. It's a Friday afternoon of the first week back after a vacation. So it's no surprise I'm messing it up slightly. But yes, the whole point of this was to say, let's read those addresses. Spatial filter, initiator. We don't want initiator. We want initiator contains results. Yes. Let's try that and see what happens. That looks about right. There we go. So really, that was very quick to show how we do this. The user here wanted to read data to an extent provided in the shapefile and then pass it out. Oops. Like so. So that's what we did. We just read from there. And because the geodatabase has got a spatial index, I think that makes it quicker than if we just read the whole thing and clipped it. So yeah. Now if we didn't accumulate that into bounding boxes, we just had 4 initiators, then we'd still get the same output because it's still covering the same area. So we still get those sets of features. They're just in 4 different areas. Now what I'm wondering is, does it tell us what have we got coming through here? We've got name and image file. So I wonder what happens to attributes. Okay, so we could say merge initiator and result, and then we would be able to know. So if I run that again, now it should keep the name and the image file on each of these addresses. So if we just look at the addresses, it should tell us which. So that one comes in from image file 0809NO. This one is 0809PQ. This should be 0708. No, sorry, 1011NO. And this will be 1011PQ. There we go. So that's another way of doing it, is to, if you've got multiple things coming in, like we've got 4 features from the shape, all I did there was say, let's accumulate and keep those attributes on there as well. And then we're still getting the same addresses out, but now we know which source they came from, and we could split it up on that basis. So I could put a fan out in the output, or I could just do an inspector, say with a group by, and say let's group by name. And if we run it to there and look at that data, there we go. We've got 4 different outputs now, one for each different inspector. So I can turn on that one and that one and that one and that one, and you can almost vaguely see their different colors as well. It's not very clear, but we'll make it clear. So those are that tile, and that one's that tile, and so on. So that will be just a way to that one there. Let's change the color just to we'll go with cyan. There we go. So that's just a way to keep the output separate if that's what the user wanted. So that was pretty much what I was going to show today, just those 2 questions. Hopefully this will answer those folk who have got those questions. I'll award you the Question of the Week badge as well. So you'll get that little badge on your profile on the community. And yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to show. And yeah, I will add that open buildings format to the hub. Actually, it would be nice if, where's the data? Like, there's a link for each of those data sets, I should think. I wonder if it was always going to be the same URL. S2 cell, yeah, it probably is actually. Level 4 S2 cell. So what I could do is make it so that that reader lets you just pick which tile to read, and it downloads automatically, and you don't need to download it separately. But that would be a bit of an excess just for this, because I'm just trying to show how it works. So we'll see. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah, so I hope this was useful. I hope that answered those questions. I'm going to sign off for today, but yeah, please do keep an eye out next week. I'm sure we'll be online doing some things. What I'm hoping to do is have some developer demos of things coming up in FME 2022. As you can see, it sure looks a lot different in some ways than like the log file is completely different, look and feel. The start window is completely different. I mean, I think those 2 are the 2 big things that you'll be able to see, but there's a few other ones that I want to just to get developers to come online and talk about. So we'll see if we can do that in advance of the launch as well, so you're sort of prepared as to what's coming up. Okay, well, with that, I'll say goodbye for this week, and yeah, I will see you back online sometime. Sometime next week, I hope. Okay, so look out on Monday for a FME Monday poll question that we will ask. Okay, thanks. Bye.